Hello, my dearest friends. Welcome or welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt. You're seeing me in the same visage as you saw yesterday is because I've been pre-filming so I can bring out more videos for you this week. I'm going to do a video that I don't like doing every year, but I do want to stand and kind of talk about books that I didn't quite enjoy, books that were either disappointments or just didn't deliver what I was hoping to get from them. So I'm going to be talking about the disappointments of 2025 today, and there were a few to say that unfortunately it wasn't just a handful. And I'm going to just share with you why they didn't work for me. And this is a disclaimer here that I don't want to offend anyone. I mean, this may be a list of books that contains multiple books that you may have enjoyed, you may have loved, they may be favorite books of yours. And I can completely agree that everyone's taste is subjective, and every book that I may rate a 1-star may be a 5-star for someone else, and vice versa. So there is no competition here towards us having to agree that a book is bad or that a book is good. I'm very happy for you if any of these books were a favorite of yours, because that's what reading is all about. We need to find our slice of happiness in a book, right? So if one of these is a favorite of yours, good for you. It's just that I personally didn't enjoy them, so I'm going to tell you today why that was. And I'm going to start off with a banger, with a book that I read at the start of the year that was probably one of my bigger disappointments, and that is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. I mean, I've got Fourth Wing here, so the physical copy of it. I really loved Iron Flame. I actually was one of the few people that gave that book 5 stars, because I feel like Fourth Wing is the more popular 5-star book and that more people didn't enjoy Iron Flame. For me, it was the opposite. I gave Fourth Wing 4 stars, Iron Flame 5 stars, and I decided not to rate Onyx Storm because I would have rated it like a like a 2-star. Let's put it at a 2-star, because I really did not enjoy that book. I have to say that for that book, I can fully imagine that Rebecca Yarros had such pressure to deliver the third book, and everyone was putting out like fan theories, and it was probably quite overwhelming for her to come up with a very original plot line, and while keeping the same kind of enemies to lovers chemistry going on between the two main characters. And I don't know, just a lot of things didn't make sense to me. I had some questions that were kind of left hanging from Iron Flame, and they didn't really get answered in Onyx Storm. And just the whole progression of Violet going on this journey and Xaden kind of not getting any closer to a resolution for the problem that occurred in book 2. And I don't know, it just, the whole book seemed like the biggest filler book to me. Like, if you ask me, like, I think it's quite a chunky book as well. If you ask me, like, half of the things that happened in that book, I couldn't tell you. And I couldn't tell you already when I finished the damn book. So I'm just so disappointed by it. And even like when I was reading it, like halfway throughout, I was wondering, like, will I even continue with the series? Because it's really looking like the success of this series is going to encourage the publisher to milk every single cent out of this whole series. So I feel like this is going to be at least like a 6, 7, 8 book series, because that is the way that book 3 went. So why not book 4 and book 5? Everyone is going to pick it up anyway. So I'm like, will I pick up book 4? Yeah, for sure I'm going to pick up book 4. But will I continue after book 4 if book 4 is similar to Onyx Storm? That is questionable. Like, my loyalty only runs so far, and I just didn't enjoy this one. That is it. So Onyx Storm is my first disappointment of the year. The next one is no different. The next one is the biggest book of the year, probably when it comes to contemporaries in romance. It's the latest release by Emily Henry, Great Big Beautiful Life. When I think about this book, first of all, I think about how kind of unoriginal it was. I think about the fact that the romance was so underwhelming and so almost taking a back seat to everything else in that story that it just wasn't fun to read. And the whole plot line with the side character getting a bigger part of the story than the actual romance was just not it for me. I'm not going to be talking about the synopsis of this book because I think everyone who is in the romance community has read this book. And because it was so underwhelming to me, I just want to skip over it and just want to tell you that this book is my biggest disappointment by Emily Henry. I mean, Booklovers was definitely not a favorite book of mine. It's my least favorite by this author, but then now I have another least favorite, and that is definitely this latest release. So, yeah, Emily Henry will come out with another book next year. I'll read it, and I just hope that it's going to be better than this one, because this one was definitely not it for me. The next book I'm going to mention is actually a recent read of mine, and I know that a lot of people love this book, and I can see why to a certain extent. But for me, it was such a frustrating read because I saw the potential of it and I saw how good it could have been. But then there were certain things that just did not work for me as a reader. The book is It's Different This Time by Joss Richard. It's a full themed romance, New York setting, which I really, really love, where a hero and heroine, we see that they have this past together, but in the present, they are not really in talking relationship. They used to be best friends, and she now lives in LA. He lives in New York, and they get invited to this will reading where it turns out that once upon a time when they were best friends, they used to live in this brown house in New York, and they rented it from this wonderful billionaire guy who has come to pass in present tense and has decided to leave the apartment to them because they were the last tenants in that brown house. So they have had a falling out. We don't know what has happened. We're seeing past and present chapters, and I really loved certain things of this book, but the heroine just was so insufferable to me. And the fact that she just could not, for the life of her, communicate certain things to the hero. And she was like that in both the past and the present chapters. I mean, in the past chapters, I can understand because you're still quite young and you're unexperienced in certain things. But in the present chapters, I'm like, girl, you're in your 30s. Just learn to find a common way to communicate with a person that you've shared a lot of years with. And if you're going to have to work together to get those millions out of that house, or at least to live in that house, then you need to do something. You know, you need to put in some effort. And it felt very frustrating to me the way that she was behaving. And the hero was wonderful in this book, though he at certain points kind of seemed like he was written for the heroine, which started to bother me as well, because I'm like, if the heroine put in just a little more effort, then we could have had more energy put into developing his story more. And that is where the frustrating kind of feelings for me came in, because this book had so much potential. Like, the writing was really good, the setting of the book was amazing, the best friend of the heroine was great, and I just wanted more from the heroine, and kind of also more of a backstory for the hero. Then this would have been a 5-star read. But unfortunately, because I had seen so many people hyping this book up, I was like, I just wanted to love it a bit more, and I didn't. Next up, Becky is going to hate me for this one. She already told me when she saw my graphic on Instagram. It's Scattered Bones by, what is it? Nicole Scarano. And the next one is also Anathema by Carrie Lake. I actually read these books back to back. Both of them are kind of atmospheric fantasy reads. And when we're talking about Scattered Bones, we're talking about a book that features a heroine who has lost her husband to this brutal kind of betrayal-bound murder. And his bones were scattered throughout the whole realm. She meets this stranger who promises her to bring her husband back to life if she can gather all of the bones. And she goes on this quest to gather all of these bones. And for me, I don't know, I had heard someone talking about this book saying that it's this epic, longing-filled romance where you've got so much yearning, so much kind of longing that you're bound to love it. And I did feel that. I felt the longing and the yearning, but it just was too much of the heroine being on her own, going on this quest to gather these bones. So all of these kind of trials that she had to go through. You do have the past chapters of them kind of connecting and seeing how they grew to love each other and to be with each other. But it just kind of wasn't enough for me. I was not as invested in the love story as I should have been. And I don't know, had maybe the story been a bit more restructured, maybe get more of their backstory at the start so you can connect with them more and then go on these trials, I might have loved it more. But I didn't connect with the story, and I had heard such wonderful things about this book that I'd expected more. So yeah, this is one of them. And then the second is Anathema by Carrie Lake. Becky told me that I'm probably the only person she knows who dislikes that book. And it's not really that I disliked it. It's more so that everyone that I know has given this book 4 or 5 stars, has been talking about how atmospheric and eerie and kind of creepy it is. And I did feel that. I felt the atmospheric, eerie kind of a scenery and, certain things that did work for me in the book. But I don't know, it just felt, I didn't feel connected at all to the heroine. I didn't feel too invested in the story. I did like the setting of it, but like the plot, I think that this book is like really built on scenery and character development. And in certain situations, that is just not my favorite type of a read. And I don't know, it's maybe more a me thing than the book's problem. But yeah, essentially, I am now also hesitant about picking up Nocticadia. I do have the audiobook for it, but I'm not sure whether I'm going to be picking that one up next year around spooky season, because if it's the same kind of a writing style and like scenery, then I'm not sure that it's going to be for me. But yeah, Anathema was another one that just didn't work for me. Next up, I'm going to talk about some 2-star reads, some books that just drove me up the wall. I really, really didn't like these books. The first one being People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. And that just pains me to say, because I've loved the other books by this author so much. Especially this book I read, Out of the Woods, which is her marriage in crisis book that I really, really enjoyed. And I was so much looking forward to People Watching, especially after seeing that gorgeous cover and knowing that it's going to be a fall romance coming out just before fall. I was in for it. And then I started to read this book. And already like at the 20-30% mark, I wanted to DNF it, but I stuck through with it. And I'm kind of mad at myself that I did, because now I have even stronger feelings of dislike about this book. And it all has to do with the hero. The hero is horrible. He's like the least romance-worthy kind of a hero for me. He was very arrogant, boasting, not really caring at all. And the heroine is this virgin who doesn't have any experience, obviously, sexually. And then he's coming there like, I've been with over 200 women. I don't even know how many women I've been with. So let me just fix you, And it's like, I'm not sure that that is every romance girlie's favorite thing to see in books, in romance books. It definitely wasn't mine. So I'm just gonna say this was just not it for me. I hope, like, one thing that I have to say, at the start of the book, Hannah Bonham Young had written this foreword. I don't know what it's called, like some information about how she came up with the idea to write this book. And she was saying that she and her family always used to go to this Canadian wintry place, like the small town in Muskoka. And I've actually been in Muskoka and I love the scenery there. And I was like, oh, if this is going to be the setting of the book, I'm going to be loving this. That didn't save it for me. It just didn't. I really, really hated the hero. I was not a fan of the heroine either. So, no. The next one I equally disliked, and I think I'm not the only one, is the follow-up to Lights Out by Nevessa Allen called Caught Up. I like the idea of what the heroine was doing in that book. She's like this cam girl, like online. I think she's a cam girl, right? She's someone who is selling online content to men. And she's absolutely not ashamed, afraid to show her true self to people, which I absolutely love, like the confidence of the fact that she is what she is and she is who she is and she is what she does. And she has absolutely no qualms with people looking her the wrong way and her just giving them a piece of her mind. I really love that about the heroine. But then the hero was such an underwhelming kind of a hero. This was supposed to be like this mafia guy, macho guy, who just wasn't doing it for me. The whole plot of him wanting to get out of the mafia circle that he's in and focus on just doing whatever he wants to do. I like that idea, but then I wanted to see what is it that he wants to do, right? Like, what are his motivations? And kind of like the only motivation that we were seeing is that he wanted to be with her. And that just doesn't do it for me. I don't know, just everything about this book, at the 50% mark, I wanted to DNF it. The connection between them also kind of felt off for me. So I just didn't love this book. I gave it 2 stars, and I'm very I'm very hesitant about book 3. Also, the green color of the cover kind of puts me off. I don't know, it's something about green, this kind of a green specifically, like the frog green, that just doesn't work for me. So yeah, I'm probably gonna wait and see what other people say about book 3 before I pick it up. But yeah, just wasn't my favorite, this one. Now, the next one was a summary read that I was so much looking forward to picking up, because when I heard like this is about a Hawaiian retreat kind of a situation, I was like, sign me up, sounds so good. The book is Not Safe for Work by Nisha J. Tooley, and this book didn't work for me because the heroine was just not even too feministic. She was borderline passive aggressive with men, with all men. And I can understand that a woman can feel discouraged in corporate life, that she can feel disregarded, disrespected, not valued. I completely get that. I mean, I've been working in similar environments for quite some time, and I completely get that. But having to be hostile towards every male person in your vicinity just is not the way to go about it, in my opinion. It felt like she was just on a warpath with everyone, and it just didn't feel right to me. It also didn't feel right that she had the same opinions about the hero, and then suddenly she has feelings for him. And I'm like, this should have been done differently, in my opinion. I mean, I completely get that whenever you're in a male-centered kind of field of work, that the hostility can build up, and like the negative, frustrating feelings can build up. But there needed to be some positive light in this one, and I felt that there wasn't until the heroine kind of opened her eyes to romance, and that just didn't work for me. If you're unfamiliar with the plot of this book, it centers on a heroine and a hero who work in the same company. Something has happened because of which the heroine kind of has this crooked vision of her hero. She kind of thinks that he's not God's greatest gift to earth, and he also has a kind of lukewarm kind of communication with her, even though we kind of quite quickly find out that he does have a thing for her, but because he sees her being so hostile towards him that he kind of takes a backseat. And they go on this annual work retreat, like a 3-week Hawaiian retreat, where she needs to present a united front with him. But at the same time, there is this other guy from the company who kind of advances on her. And she is the whole time thinking about how she can make a promotion at her work, all the while seeing that everyone else has a leg up on her because she's the woman, they're the man, and you know where this is heading. So this one just wasn't it for me. Next up, it pains me to say, is a book by Julie Soto, because I've loved all the contemporaries by Julie Soto that I've read, and I was very much looking forward to the romantasy debut of this author that is based off of her fanfic. I think her fanfic was called The Auction, and it's now traditionally published as Rose in Chains, and it's supposed to be this Harry Potter fanfiction turned romantasy. And in Rose in Chains, she needed to step away from the Harry Potter world, so she needed to craft a world that is not similar to Harry Potter so that it can get traditionally picked up. And that is essentially what just didn't work for me. This is like a crossover, or like a mashup of two stories together. So we've got, if whatever the Harry Potter world was married The Handmaid's Tale, then it would have been Rose in Chains, something like that. But then it has its own original world, but the world building just was not fully flushed out for me. And I've not yet Harry Potter. So for me, I could not really find out if it was truly distanced from that world or not, but just because it was lacking certain things for me, I just didn't connect very well with it. And I did enjoy somewhat the relationship between hero and heroine, and you could definitely see how tormented the hero was over the situation he was putting the heroine in. There were certain things that were okay, but then the fact that I have read 2 books by Julie Soto that were absolute favorites of mine. So we've got Another Love Song, and then also Forget Me Not, where we've got like pining heroes and strong heroines, and you have that in Rose in Chains as well, but just something was missing for me. Something was missing. I didn't connect with the story as much, so unfortunately it was a disappointment as well. Now, the next one was a disappointment because I highly enjoyed The Dead Romantics and The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, and I was very much anticipating the next release by this author. And this year she came out with Sounds Like Love, and the premise of it sounded really good, right? So it's this heroine who has this telepathic kind of a connection to the hero, so they hear the same song, and yeah, it's this magical aspect thing that is usually thrown into Ashley Poston's books, and I was very much looking forward to it, but then something just wasn't vibing for me. I think that it's most of all the hero who just wasn't flushed out for me. So I didn't get the motivations of the hero to want to be with the heroine. The heroine was more flushed out. She had this whole backstory of having to go back to her family small town where they have this bar, and her mother is starting to have symptoms of either dementia or Alzheimer's. I'm not sure which one of the two, but Essentially, she has these worries about her family and about what is going to happen to their livelihood and whether she's going to need to move back home. And there's certain things that you see in her story that you're just not seeing from him so much. So it felt like it was the heroine's story, and then in he bops with this telepathic kind of connection with her, and then them having to work on this song together. I don't know, just it felt very one-sided, very two-dimensional, and I just didn't connect with the character so much. In her other books, the heroes were so amazing, especially in the 7 Year Slip. I really, really love that book. So this one just fell off the mark for me. Unfortunately, it wasn't a favorite. The same can be said for The Love Haters by Catherine Center. I've loved other Catherine Center books before, so I was definitely looking forward to this one. But then there were certain things in this book that just didn't work for me. The heroine was struggling with an eating disorder, and this was not, I think, marketed very well. So it wasn't like put as a trigger warning in the book. And it's such a big part of the book that it kind of takes away from the positive aspects in the book, like the romance, you know? So the self-image situation was just not very well done, in my opinion. And also the fact that in the end, it felt like the heroine hadn't worked through it a lot. So it just didn't feel very right to me. And overall, like the whole atmosphere of this book fell off. And I just didn't enjoy it. And honestly, I heard other people also didn't love this book as much. So I kind of felt like I wasn't alone with it as well. So yeah, it just wasn't the favorite. The last book I'm going to talk about is one that annoyed me to no end. I'm going to tell you, I don't know who enjoyed the ending of this series, but I definitely didn't. I'm talking about Fearless by Lauren Roberts. So Reckless, I really enjoyed. I gave that book 4 stars. Then came the novella Powerful. I gave that book 5 stars. I actually cried in the end, even though we kind of know what happened in the novella already from the first book, but just the whole, I don't know, backstory to it really felt so emotional to me. I cried, so I gave it 5 stars. And then Reckless was this really weird place where I was like, what the heck? This does not feel like the same writer, the same series. I didn't enjoy it at all. And then Fearless was like, what the fuck did you just do? I was just so annoyed, so particularly frustrated with the character arc of one of the main characters in this book that it just was not funny. And the hero in this book was just like, I'm gonna do whatever this bitch wants and whatever. You know, it's all about her, like the heroine, and you know, her motivations and how she needs to wrap up her journey. And it just wasn't okay. The way that this book ended was not, or at least the series ended, was not okay for me. I had expected so much more. It could have gone into different directions, and it just didn't. I cannot go into too much details because obviously this is a third book and you may not have read it yet, but trust me when I say this was probably one of the most frustrating reads that I've had in a while. So yeah, you can rest assured that I didn't give this book more than 2 stars. Anyway, I don't want to talk about any more negativity because I talked about a lot today. You can definitely count on this channel being most of all positive. I try to really keep it upbeat and talking mostly about the books that I've really, really loved. But once in the year, I'm allowing myself to share my pain about which books really let me down. And this is it for this year. Please let me know which books were disappointing to you this year. Are any of them on my list? Can we share the pain together? Or did you have completely different ones? And Yeah, you can rest assured that the rest of the videos this week are going to be on the more positive note. I will see you in the next one. Like I mentioned, Wednesday is my day off, so you'll see me on Thursday. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Happy reading. Take care and